cytoplasm. Like it fills the whole, it contains all these cell parts. Okay, good. So it's a site of chemical reaction. Good. Okay. Then there is an other one which is called as cytoskeleton, cytosol or cytoskeleton, that provide the strength to the inner part. It controls the shape of the cell, or the strengthen to, it gives strength to the cell. Okay, am I missing something now? Let me check. I guess I have explained everything. Yeah, everything. Okay, so today we are going to learn about the specialized cells first of all, and then what makes these cells specialized. Okay, so there is a word known as stem cells. Do you have any idea about the stem cell? Okay, it's, so let's talk about the stem cell and the cell differentiation. Okay, so you must have an idea that the animals are mostly developed from an embryo. Okay, so that one is basically a stem cell where the cells are not differentiated. Okay, for example, if we look at an egg, let's talk about the hatching of an egg. Okay, so when the chick is developed from an egg, first of all, it's a simple an embryo. Embryo develop Embryo is a collection of cells which has no other parts, only a collection of cells. Then that those cells of embryo, they got differentiated into eye, into beak, into the nervous system, into the tail. So the stem cell is the basic, you can say the basic cell of embryo, which develop into specialized cells, which develop into different type of cells. Okay, let me give you an example. As we have discussed the human, let's talk about the human embryo. Okay, so what parts develop from this embryo? The nervous system, right? All the organs, all the organs, right? Lungs, heart, everything developed from that. Even the blood cells. Now these are the specialized cells. Okay, these are the differentiated cells. Differentiated means their structure and function is now different. Okay, so first of all, when there is an embryo, the cells are not differentiated, they all are same. Further on, they transformed into specialized cells, and this process is known as differentiation. Okay, uh have you ever heard of a word potency or potent? Potential? Potential? Okay, so what is potential here? Why? Because we are talking about the differentiation of cells. So potential is basically the ability of a stem cell to differentiate into some cell, like if the cell is potent or if the cell is not potent. Okay, let me write potent and non-potent. What is that? Okay, potency. Potency mean the potential of a cell to get differentiated, to be differentiated. If there, okay, so we use stem cell in uh, the treatment a lot nowadays, because we believe that these stem cells, if we take a stem cell, by applying certain conditions or by giving specialized conditions, that cell can develop into some specialized cell. Have you ever heard of stem cell therapy? No. Okay. Um, have you ever heard of plasma therapy? No. Yeah, plasma is the part of blood. Okay. So what happen in stem cell therapy? Uh, Basically, a group of cell or a tissue is inserted, and that develop into a better organ. Okay, let me give you a simple example. Let's talk about starfish. Okay, starfish has the ability to regrow its arm if it's broken. Okay, starfish has natural ability. Now we want to have the same want to develop the same ability in humans. Okay, so what we do, we usually take normal cells. So take the normal cells from a normal person and insert them into the infected person. For example, this is extensively used in bone marrow therapy, in blood cancers basically. If a person has a blood cancer, so they had the stem cell transplant. So what will happen? They just take the cell of healthy person and they induce that group of cell into infected one or a cancer person, cancer patient. With passage of time, that stem cell they grow into healthy cells and they treat the cancer. Does it help? Okay. Now stem cell. Okay, we are transferring the cells. We're transferring the cells. Okay. Let me give you one more example. Uh, there nowadays because the plastic surgery is really common. So there is one stem cell therapy developed from the burn victims because their skin cells are all damaged. So the healthy cells from their body part is taken and tried to be grafted on that place, okay, and then they develop into a normal skin. This is in process. There are lots of researches on like how stem cells can be used. So stem cells are basically a group of cells that can be differentiated. So potency is the one thing that we need to keep in mind while we discuss the stem cell. Are they potent enough? Okay. The second thing is the self renewal. Can they divide many times? Self renewal. Okay. There are some body cells which do not divide after renewable. Okay. Like like the eye cells. The cells in your eye, they stop growing after a certain time. Okay, similar your nervous cells, the neurons. The nerve cells, they stop growing after a certain limit. But your skin cells, they keep on growing or they keep on dividing again and again. Are you getting me? No? Okay, okay, okay. Your okay, yes. So you have a body, but you have two different type of cells. Now I'm giving you two examples. One is skin cell. The skin cell keep on dividing for your whole life. For whole life. They keep on dividing and dividing. But your neurons or brain cells, let me just give you an easy word. The brain cells, they stop dividing after a certain limit. Okay? So for stem cell therapy, we usually choose those cells which divide again and again, which have unlimited divisions. Okay. So we have talked about embryo already. Now embryo is the one thing that where the differentiation process actually starts for a normal person. Okay. So what will happen? Your like the stem cells they develop into lungs, intestine, your skin, the neurons, the red blood cells, and various things. Okay, okay. This is what we have done so far. Okay, let's talk about the type of, sorry, stem cells on the basis of potency. Okay, type of stem cells. There are many types. The number one type is known as totipotent. Okay, the name may sound funny, but it's like a you can say a scientific word. Okay, totipotent means that this is the cells that give rise to all type of cells. Like it's a multi-talented cell, like a human egg or any egg. That is a totipotent. The simple embryo can develop into various type of cells. Okay, you can say this is all in one, like human embryo, where one cell is capable of dividing into many different type of cells. Now, some are very like limited one. Let's say multipotent. These are limited. The second one is multipotent. This one is limited. Now, once the embryo develop into certain parts, your skin cells can only divide into your skin cells. Your stomach cells can only divide into your stomach cells. Your intestinal cells can only divide into intestinal cells. Is it so? Multipotent means there would be division, but differentiation would be very limited, very like specific. Differentiation is specific. Those cells divide, but they divide into a certain type. Okay, okay. The last one is the pluripotent. The word is like pluri, like many. Sorry, pluripotent. Okay, they can be differentiated into different body cells, and this usually include the tissue. Like for example, let me give you an example. Okay, when your neural tube develop, the neurons one, it then differentiated into brain and spinal cord. Now these are two different parts. So a single cell can be differentiated into the different types. Okay, let's say for example, the blood has different type of cells. Okay, so you can say that it would be like same, the origin is same but type of cells are different. Okay, what else we have discussed? We have discussed the uses of stem cells in sciences or in medicines. So very first thing we discussed was the stem cell therapy, bone marrow transplant. What happened in this one? We discussed already. I want you to say this. For stem cell therapy, the bone marrow therapy. Okay. In case of blood cancer, we discussed this, right? In case of, okay, therapy mean treatment. Treatment. It's a treatment with the help of stem cells. Now, if a person suffer from some kind of blood cancer. So, for example, if okay, let's talk about the blood relations because it is most common in blood relations. The therapy takes place in blood relations. Okay, the stem cell of a healthy person, okay, of a relative, let's say, of a relative would be taken and then transplanted into a patient. Okay, okay. When it becomes part of the patient body, it starts to grow normally or differentiate normally. Okay, when it develops normally, it produces normal cells. This is how you treat the blood cancer patient. Like, for example, uh, what else can be given? Like the spinal cord injury. Let's talk about the spinal cord injury. Because I've told you earlier that these cells divide up till a certain limit and after that they won't divide. So we insert the stem cell of a healthy person into the place which is damaged. There it becomes part of that organ, and after that it starts to differentiate normally into neurons or nerve cells. Okay, this you must know, like the treatments. Okay, the second treatment that we discussed was related to the blindness. Okay, sorry, let's talk about the blindness in patients which have the vision problem or blindness. So this therapy can be used over there. Like, we can replace the eye cells because they do not divide after a certain limit. The size of the eye remains same since you born. It would be same. It won't change. The eye size, yes, it won't change. So they don't divide basically. So for such cells, we take, if it is infected or got damaged, we take cells from a healthy person. Of course, we need certain type of test before transplanting. We need to perform a test just to check whether it is compatible or not. Only then we can transfer. Only then we can transplant. Then it is transplanted and then develop into normal cells. Okay. Okay. The third thing we discussed was the spinal cord injury. Okay. One more thing we have discussed, the burn victims. Okay. I guess these examples are enough for you. Okay. Shall I repeat it one more time? Stem cells. Shall I repeat? Oh, I'm repeating it one more time. Okay. So the stem cells, we basically say these are the embryo cells that develop into certain type of specialized cells. So these are not special. These are like a group of normal cells that further divide. Then we talked about the potency. Potency is the ability of stem cell. Uh, yes, they can develop into white blood cell. They can develop into white blood cell. They have that potency. Okay, so potency is the potential of a cell to be differentiated. So we can say stem has a potency to divide to differentiate into red blood cell. It has a potency to differentiate into white blood cell. It has a potency to differentiate into heart cells. It has a potency to develop into eye cells. It has a potency to develop into uh, nerve cells. Okay, that is potency. Self-renewable is the ability of a cell to divide many times. Like, it should, one cell divide into two, again that cell grow and divide into two, again that cell grow and divide into two. That's how you grow. Growth is basically increase in number of cells, right? Then if we talk about potency, there are certain type of potencies. The very first thing is the totipotent. It means these are the embryo cells which can divide into any type of cell, any type of which can differentiate into any type of cell. So embryo cells are basically totipotent. Okay. Then the multipotent are those which are very limited. Like we can say the intestinal cells can only divide into intestinal cells. The uh, the cells can only divide into lung cells. Okay, that is multipotent. Though the name is multi, but the function is not multi. Clear? Pluripotent is the one in which stem cell can differentiate into all of the body cell type. Okay, for example, if we talk about blood, blood has different types, so it can develop into different type of blood cells. Okay, then we have learnt about the uses of stem cell in medicine. The very first one is the stem cell therapy, in which the stem cell of a normal person is taken and transplanted into the bone marrow of the healthy person. Oh, sorry, cancer patient. After certain time, that stem cell differentiated into healthy cells. This is how you replace the cancer cells. Then it can also be used to treat blindness, the spinal cord injury, and the burn skin. Okay. Okay, how it can be made possible. So I've told you in the start that the genetic material should be same. That's why we use compatibility test. The two persons are like their blood is tested to check the compatibility. For example, for any organ transplant, if someone wants to have a kidney transplant or a liver transplant, so they first have that cross cross test, in which it is checked whether that foreign kidney or the foreign liver is compatible or not, whether it can adjust in the body or not. Okay, so this test is very important before starting this one, before starting the treatment. I guess I've spoken a lot. Okay, then let's talk about the multicellular cells, or we can also okay, let's talk about the different type of cells. I have just told you the red blood cell, so it's a different type of cell. What is the function of red blood cell? Hemoglobin. Okay, and what's the function? Oxygen. Good. So that hemoglobin that binds with oxygen and transported to the all parts of the cells. Oh, all parts of the body. Okay. Um, what is the function of? Let me give you an easy one. Muscle cell. Okay. Your whole body is made up of muscles. What do you think? What is the like function of the muscle? Let's talk about the muscles of your arm. Sorry, to lift. Okay. And how does it lift the stuff? Good. So it contracts and relax, which causes the movement. The contraction and relaxation of muscles causes the movement. Even your eye muscles, they are contracting and relaxing. That's why you are blinking, right? Okay. So muscle cells are made up of, sorry, basically they are muscle fibers. They're long. Let me give you a diagram. They are long and they can be stretched.